Thanks, David. Meantime, the Woodstock that wasn't is back on again. Bethel 94 is being held after all, and now it's a freebie. Organizers had canceled the festival due to slow ticket sales, but now original Woodstock acts, including Melanie, Country Joe McDonald, and Richie Havens, have decided to perform for free. Bethel 94 has one claim Woodstock 94 can't make. Bethel is being staged on what used to be Max Yasgur's farm, site of the original Woodstock Festival. Another important event in American history is being remembered this week, the resignation of President Richard Nixon. The 20th anniversary of that infamous day is being commemorated with several Watergate specials. Steve Kameko has more.
2 years and 2 months before he resigned to escape impeachment, his undoing began here in a building called the Watergate.
On August 9, 1974, Richard Nixon became the first American president ever to resign from office.
Tuesday in New York, CBS announced Tom Snyder will follow David Letterman in the network's late-night lineup. Snyder gained fame in the same time slot following Johnny Carson on NBC 20 years ago.
You've talked to so many people over your long career. Is there anybody left interesting to talk to, and if there is, who are they?
No, they're all, we've done them all. They're people that we probably haven't even heard of yet. I mean, you know, people a year and a half, 2 years ago, who was Heidi Fleiss? A year and a half, 2
Oh, you know who she was, Tom.
When Tom Snyder's original late-night show was canceled, his replacement was David Letterman. The old expression, everything old is new again, may be the best way to describe the new Little Rascals movie. It may be new, but the adventures of Spanky and the gang actually date back more than 7 decades to a simpler time. Steve Kameko shows us the most successful series of short films in movie history.
What a fine thing. Circus tomorrow, and we have to go to school. Oh, no, we don't. We're going to the circus.
They were our gang, and unlike today's street gangs, they didn't have weapons, spray paint, or turf. In 221 short subjects made from 1922 to 1944, they recited Shakespeare.
Friends, women, and countrymen, lend me your ears.
Put on shows.
You've got the cutest little baby face.
Fell for their teachers.
Why, Jackie, do you want to marry me?
And simply charmed Americans from the Roaring '20s through the Depression and much of World War II. Today, TV audiences know them as the Little Rascals, the name they received when sold into TV reruns in the '50s.
That they have been saved, that they have been restored, that kids for generations to come will see good, clean comedy.
In Los Angeles, I'm Steve Kameko for E! News Week in Review.
Many of the Rascals films were shot at MGM, and across town at Warner Brothers, film production was at its height. Film buffs can get an inside look at the nuts and bolts of movie making on the Warner's VIP studio tour. The trip through sound stages and backlots is in its 21st year. Steve Kameko has more.
We roam around at will. We don't necessarily use direct routes. We kind of go wherever the best places are to go the day people are here.
It stars no giant gorillas, no hair-raising rides, and only 14 tourists to a tram. But the Warner Brothers studio tour does showcase more than 100 acres of movie history.
Of all the gin joints and all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
As far as I'm concerned, we have a real working studio tour. We're the only studio that does this, where we're able to take our guests into the actual production areas, operation areas, arts and craft areas as it's being done the day you're here.
Dick Mason was an assistant to studio chief Jack Warner in the 1960s. He's been at Warner's for almost 40 years, and each stop on the tour sets off a montage of Mason's personal movie memories.
And this has become famous because it is the setting of John Wayne's last movie. It's called Midwest Street. We're going out to the Western Street first, and it's one of our sets that we generally try to always include on the tour.
Highlights include Western Street, where portions of Wyatt Earp and Maverick were filmed.
Tell him, Morgan.
Portions of New York Street doubled for the Los Angeles of the future in Blade Runner and Gotham City in Batman Returns.
We did some work back here in Bonnie and Clyde, some work back here on Cool Hand Luke, Gremlins, and of course a lot of work on shows like Dukes of Hazzard, Maverick, Little House on the Prairie,
Dick Mason's tour includes trips to sound stages where classics such as Casablanca were filmed, the carpentry shop, and the prop department, known for its playful atmosphere. Visitors leave with an up-close and personal peek behind the silver screen.
Yes.
In Los Angeles, I'm Steve Kometko for E! News Week in Review.
Coming up on E! News Week in Review, Janet Jackson gets some real respect. And Clint Black is wearing a different hat these days when we come back. Pop singer Janet Jackson is proving she deserves some RESPECT. Jackson has tied Aretha Franklin for the most gold single records by a female artist. Her 14th gold single is Anytime, Anyplace from the album Janet. The single is certified gold when it sells more than 500,000 copies. Jackson says she's happy to be in the same company with Aretha, and she calls it a very exciting milestone. Country singer Clint Black has reached a milestone of his own. He's directing his latest music video, which co-stars some of Black's funniest famous friends.
Let's do it. Okay.
On the set of his latest music video, Clint Black was seen wearing a director's cap instead of his cowboy hat. For the single Summertime's Coming from his new album One Emotion, he's decided to get behind the camera and call the shots. Comedian Howie Mandel co-starred as a lighthearted lad unlucky in love.
When you want something directed, I think that's who you would call Clint Black. Sometimes De Niro will say, you know, I want to do my film. Where's Clint? Clint's on tour, so he has to settle for somebody else.
This is not Clint's first squint through the viewfinder. His freshman outing came when he directed the video for Good Run of Bad Luck from the movie Maverick. He also had a small part in the film as a conniving card shark.
It's a cast of 10s. We're going crazy.
Comic cameos complemented the script's kooky capers. The video will include appearances by a number of well-known well-wishers. If you use slang because you don't want anyone to know what you're saying, be careful. A new dictionary is on the market that not only defines slang words, it traces them back to their origins.
Petro. Babe.
But ugly.
Scar. Vamped. Bad.
According to Random House, Americans have been using slang for more than 300 years.
Slang is a very important part of our language. It's been ignored for a very long time just because a lot of people are offended by it. And it hasn't gotten much attention, and there haven't been very many serious collections of it ever done.
The dictionary covers words as well as phrases, and notes the first time that these words or particular phrases surfaced in American culture.
Any slang, as far as we can identify, that's ever been in use in America is in here. So we have anything from, I mean, certainly all of the words normally considered vulgar or offensive are going to be in here. You know, all the words for sex and drinking, but even just general stuff, even stuff that's no longer slang.
Many readers may be surprised at the history of slang. For example, the use of the word bad to mean good is not that new. It actually goes back 100 years.
Usually by the time anyone has heard of a slang expression, it's been around for quite some time.
So the next time you're feeling groovy, just remember that term got its beginning among black jazz artists in the 30s.
Bitchin'.
The first volume is already in bookstores. It covers the letters A through G. From all of us here at E! News Week in Review, thanks for joining us. Stay with us. There's much more to come on E!, the entertainment news and information authority. I'm Bianca Ferrar.